Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Express Your Pass here on Boss Rush Network. I'm your host, the Enlightened Excited ADV. Joining me is Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig.
Hello, I am here. I have arrived. I am recording.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good. Just, kind of, doing the thing. The thing that we're supposed to do. So.
Yes. Well, everybody, this is going to be kind of a good one. I was thinking about, we got the Mario movie coming. We had Pikmin as in shorts. And I kind of want to ask you, Corey, do you think there are specific Nintendo titles that can be turned into other media, like animated movies, claymation, even probably like even board games, or something? Like, do you think there are certain titles ready to be turned into that?
I mean, I don't know. I'm always of the opinion that games should be games and movies should be movies. I mean, there's rare exception that makes it work, right? But I don't know. It just feels like they haven't cracked the nut yet. I mean, Sonic is like an anomaly, but other than that, there really haven't been any good video game movies or anything. I mean, I know a lot of people like the Castlevania adaptation, the show on Netflix, and there's been a couple other things that have stood out, but overall, it's just kind of been like, why are we doing this? Again and again and again and again. So
Well, I think Nintendo themselves, I think because of their kind of family oriented, like for some of their games, design it like I could see like Paper Mario be turned into like a movie or some shorts or something like that, or Xenoblade Chronicles could be turned into almost like an anime in a sense. I think there are like titles that Nintendo has that just says, hey, we're putting this well-known franchise into this medium. If you guys want to like see our original story and just see how things unfold.
Yeah. I think there's things that could work. I think that there's things that don't work. I think that Mario, I don't think is one that would work as a movie. To be honest with you, I just don't see it. Mario's plot is very thin in general. And, I mean, the Super Mario Super Show, right, was like the closest thing we were going to get to anything that was like okay to watch. And even then, I don't know if you've watched it lately, but it is not great.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I think it's on something. It's on something like Netflix or something. It's somewhere it's streaming, and it's really weird to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's I don't know. It's just one of those things that is questionable at best, because it's just like it's not clean animation, right? It's that really weird outsourced animation, right? Like the overseas animation, and it's just weird, man. And so, like, I don't know. I know that there's a Tomb Raider one coming, and I know that there's a new Castlevania series, and Sonic probably is getting a third movie, and there's a lot. But I know that that's not the point of this episode. I know we're gonna try to talk about like what is interesting and what could be interesting, so we could probably get to that, because that's more important, right?
Yeah.
Instead of complaining, we shouldn't complain. We should probably just make the best of it.
Well, do you think can you see like Splatoon being?
I mean, I could see Splatoon being like a kid's cartoon. It's not. I think video games could do better as a series, and not as a movie. Like I would much rather see them as TV shows or like kids shows or
Hmm.
something else. I guess. I know that Castlevania is like the one that sticks out, right? Everybody seems to love Castlevania. Uh, the I know The Witcher also is kind of one that people point to, although that's based off the books. It's not based off the games. I
Right.
wonder. I wonder how many people watch that show and don't realize that there are books on that series. So
Probably not. Well, probably the same like with the Lord of the Rings and the one show that was on HBO. Um,
the one show on HBO.
yeah, I cannot think of. My brain is going Google Gaga.
You mean Game of Thrones?
Game of
I
Thrones.
think no.
Yes.
I think people know that those are books, right? I think people know that those are books. It's they're way more popular than you know, especially Lord of the Rings. I think Lord of the Rings is like the most popular book on the planet. Um,
Mm,
so yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's really hard because like I watched Uncharted the other day, for example. I
mm-hmm.
rented it because I wanted to watch it, and it was like it was fine. You know, you could have slapped any generic treasure hunting name on it, and it would have
Pretty
been just
much.
like an okay movie, right? It didn't really feel like Uncharted. It felt more like I don't know. It's just
Uh,
we're in this weird spot where everybody like Hollywood's looking for the next big thing, right? And video games
mhm.
is the untapped market, right? It used to be superheroes, now it's video games. And with the success of Sonic, for better or for worse, they're gonna keep trying.
Well, I think the technology now to deliver these kind of video game movies and just this form of entertainment is better. The quality is better. So now it's just like making sure that there's a great script. Um, that if you are going to be mixing computer animation with real life, that everything is seamless in a sense.
Yeah. Um so yeah, I don't know. What I mean, we should probably talk about like Nintendo franchises, right? Because that's kind of the
Mhm.
topic is what Nintendo franchises would make good TV shows um, or movies, I guess. But I'm leaning more into the TV route, right? Like I know they kind of teased or there was a Zelda something in production at some point that
Mhm.
didn't never took off or it's Zelda is one of those things that I think you could potentially do actually, maybe even on the level of like I would say a PG-13 rated version of Game of Thrones, right? There's not going to be any sex or nudity or you know blood swirling everywhere, right? But I think you could do a political kind of government overthrow and almost like almost like a Lion King type thing, right? Where like
Mhm.
Zelda gets overthrown, like Ganon's forces overtake the castle and kind of take over and whatever, and then Zelda has to like figure out how to. I don't know. They could do some kind of political intrigue version of Zelda that doesn't involve Link at all until like we've talked about this before. I don't know if it was me and you or me and Laurent or at some point we talked about it, but I think the most interesting Zelda show would be a show without Link, and it would focus on Zelda and the politics and the rise of Ganon and like maybe have like a 3-season arc and then you don't even see Link until like the last season or maybe even the last episode of the last season or you see bits and pieces of him here and there in flashbacks or they could do a variation on the Breath of the Wild story where Link's in the Tomb of Resurrection, right? And you see memories and flashbacks of Zelda and Link kind of riding together, or you know, something to that extent. And I think the best way to go about a Zelda show would be to focus on Zelda and the politics and the rise of Ganon.
Well, yeah, because we don't know much about Zelda. We don't know about, the king and the castle and everything on how all of that came about. I think because of us playing most of the games, with Link being the focus, putting Zelda as the main focus will really, I think people will definitely watch it, to find out what is the story of Zelda. What is the story of Hyrule, the castle, the Triforce? What is how did Ganon or Ganondorf become born? Like, and what is this curse and stuff? Like, there's so much character background and history that they could dive into for us to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you could explore. Maybe it's like kind of unite the kingdom sort of storyline where she has to go to Death Mountain to convince the Gorons to side with them, and you go to Gerudo Valley and you go to the bird place. I forget what they're called. The birds, right? And you kind of find their leaders and convince them to rise up and say, look, if we don't stop him, he's gonna decimate Hyrule, and we can't have that, or something to that extent, right? And I think that would be super interesting.
Yeah.
Or something you could do too is like you could totally go and do it would be kind of in the future, and you would see little Easter eggs from the games, right? Like a broken down Lon Lon Ranch, or I don't know, maybe you see the boat from Wind Waker, or the windmill, or there's so many things you could do to tie into the games without actually tying into the games, right? Because I think that's the interesting thing about Zelda is that, like, there's a timeline, but there's not really a timeline. You know what I mean? There's not really you could tell any story you want and call back to the games, and it would still make sense,
Yes.
So I think Zelda would be an awesome TV show if they did it right.
Yeah, well, that's Nintendo would really have to pay attention to that script. Like, it really, because I wouldn't mind the actors or the animation or whatever form that they use, but that script is going to be important.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing though, is like, I don't know if I would want Nintendo's hand in it, because sometimes you're just too close to it. I would like to see someone who is passionate about Zelda and would really want to do it right with a Western spin on it, and really kind of nail the just the tone and the characters and the arc. And I think you would really have to kind of Westernize it to make it compelling. For at least for like the major audiences that subscribe to something like Netflix or Amazon or something,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would have to have that Western form of shooting, for TV. Like some of the camera angles, some of the color, the music, like setting the tone and mood. It can't be. It would have a mixing of a little of the East, but it's that Western kind of how TV shows are made. To get it out there, because I think, of course, you already gonna get people ready to see it because it's the Legend of Zelda. It's a really big franchise for Nintendo. Going in, it's going to be like, man, the production is high value, the script and the acting is great. What is this lore? What is the story? What are they going to tell us? And the only reason why I think Nintendo will probably they'll probably be involved, but only to see if it's handled with care to make sure that okay, everything is done right.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Nintendo is just like should be all the way in trying to make every decision. You guys are not a TV company. You
Hmm.
make games, you have ideas, but that's where it ends.
Yeah. I think. I mean, I really think that I know people are excited for the Mario movie and are interested in what's happening with it, but I actually think Nintendo's hand might actually do it some disservice.
Hmm.
Not that I want it to, because I want it to succeed. I never want anything to fail, but I just think, man, this Mario movie is way too close to. I just think it's way too close to Nintendo, and it's worrisome. It's
I think with
worrisome.
the I think with the guy that they hired or is put in charge from DreamWorks, I think Nintendo probably trusts him to see the vision.
Yeah, but DreamWorks, I think I'm not a huge DreamWorks fan. I don't really
Hmm.
like what they do, to be honest. I wish I did, but they bother me. their their animation style and it just, oh my gosh, I don't know. They just bother me. I think
It
I
doesn't have
I
that Pixar quality
well, I
in
mean,
a
well,
sense.
Pixar doesn't actually have Pixar quality right now either, but I don't know. They're too focused on like the big names tied to the movie, the music that they license,
Hmm.
and they don't really do a lot of character development because I and don't get me wrong, this is probably a detriment to what Disney does, but like you don't associate names to the Disney movies, right? The way that you do with DreamWorks and their animated movies, right? When you think of
Right.
Shrek, you think of Mike Myers, right? And Eddie Murphy. When you think of Madagascar, you think of Ben Stiller and David Schwimmer and Chris Rock, right? You think of names when you see these movies, whereas
Right.
Disney, you don't really think of names, right? You think of the story and the characters and I mean, of course there's certain Disney movies where you can tell who's playing who, and yeah, there's big marketing campaigns around them, but Disney really stopped doing that after Aladdin because of Robin Williams, and he didn't come back for the sequel, and they had to cut the budget for the sequel because Disney told him that they wouldn't make him the focal point of the marketing, and they totally did, and he didn't like that. And that's why Return of Jafar was like a straight to DVD sequel, and there's different
Hmm.
genie, and it just, uh, and I think Disney has stayed away from that since then. And when I think of DreamWorks, I just think of what I just told you, and you see with the Mario movie how many huge names are attached to this movie, and they made you know who's attached to this movie. Not that these actors are bad. I quite like every single person in this movie.
Hmm.
But it's just, man, DreamWorks just has a tendency to lean on the star power and the music licensing and not the movie. And it just really bothers me. And that's why I don't think Mario's going to be great. And I think they delayed it out of this year because they didn't want Mario compared to the Sonic movie. That's 100% of the reason why Mario got delayed out of this year.
Because it was supposed to be in December.
Yeah, and they didn't
Um,
want to get compared to Sonic because Sonic is good. Both of those movies are excellent.
mhm.
Uh, you know, and yeah, I don't know, man. I think this Mario movie is in trouble. I really do.
Did you think it's in trouble that because you think they went back to reanimate some things or add some more scenes or stuff or
No, I think it's in trouble because I think it's in trouble because I think DreamWorks is leaning way too heavy on the star power, no pun intended. And I think Nintendo is way too involved. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Nintendo's attention to detail and their creativity in video games.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Their attention to detail in video games. They are not a TV media company. They
Right.
are a toy and video game company. And I know Miyamoto's fingers are going to be all over this, and that's fine because he's a perfectionist. But I don't know. It would be different, like if Kojima was working on a movie, right? Because I think he knows what he's doing in the action movie space. He's very well known to like action movies, and he tweets
He's
about them, and he basically makes action movie video games, right, with Metal
right.
Gear.
I was about to say that he incorporates that side of filmmaking into his games.
Yeah, you know, that'd be totally different. I would love to see a Kojima movie and how weird and action packed it is, right? But like Miyamoto's games are about jumping on Goombas and picking little flower animals and
Mhm.
you know
Well,
exploring the wilderness.
I think it's the worrisome of hurting a IP. You know, and then I'm not talking about just the Mario movie or anything like that, but it's the worrisome that if a different form of medium uh, is attached to an IP and it hurts it, they think, of course, that's going to hurt sales in the future. It's going to hurt the reputation of the company. So, just like you said with Miyamoto, he's a perfectionist. He wants to make things right. But I have a feeling that Nintendo just oversees some things and give approval. You know, instead of them, because it would just make sense that, okay, Nintendo, if you're going to be so heavy-handed, why you just don't make it yourself? You got the money as a company to make all of this stuff yourself. Why haven't you? And I think because of they're not big storytellers. They're not, you know, uh, having the cinematic universe and stuff like that. Like we said, they're about games and stuff. So they're about the game design. They're not about the other mediums and stuff. So they got to get to a level of trusting those who have worked in these other mediums to be able to take their IPs and make something amazing out of it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, yes, I think those companies know that they have uh they have to get Nintendo's approval and everything, but I think they want to make sure that if we do this right, we want to make sure that Nintendo sees it and it's right. If we both agree when we put out to the public that that they know what we're going for. We're not going just they know that we're not just doing this for profit or we're greedy and stuff. We really want to entertain. We really want to do this right and justice. And I think it's a scary thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you take a beloved franchise and you turn it into a different medium, and you just want to make sure that you do it right. And you know, it's not. And for some people, they say, "Well, it's going to be up to the fans." No, it's going to be up to that individual who is going to go see that form of media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I'm concerned about the Mario movie. I could be wrong, right? Like Detective Pikachu is okay. I know Nintendo didn't really have a lot to do with that, but you know, I like Mario. I really do. I think there are a lot of IP that are better suited for this stuff from Nintendo than Mario. You know, so
Well, I know Fire Emblem, but because of all the animated scenes that and the anime drawings of the characters, Fire Emblem would just, to me personally, I feel like Fire Emblem would make a great anime movie, like film. I don't think it needs a TV series
see,
or anything like that.
I think Fire Emblem's the one that would be a great anime series, and then you look at Xenoblade, and that would be your movie.
because there's not too many stories,
Well,
too many
I
gangs.
just think like, the story in Xenoblade is like, I don't know, I don't want to say more straightforward, but there's like a lot of, man, I don't know. I really don't know what to tell you at this point. I just, maybe they both be good shows.
I mean,
I'm just not into the whole movie idea. I think that's what ruins the game, is because you think about how you play games and how intimate you are with the characters, and
mhm.
I mean, you spend somewhere between 10, 12 to hundreds of hours with these characters sometimes, you know? How are you going to fit that into a 120-minute movie, you know? And yeah, I get it. You can have a sequel, you can have whatever, right? It's just like, I think that's why Castlevania works as a show, right? Is that, and which is ironic because it's based off the NES games, which are like 45 minutes long, right? So it's like, I think that's why it works though, is because you have time to build relationships with those characters and kind of switch sides with them, or see what they're going through, or have empathy for one, or you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You see their struggles, that kind of thing. And it's like, well, in a movie you don't get all that. You just don't. And I think that's why TV is more popular than it ever has been. And aside from COVID, why you know movies are suffering unless it's a blockbuster Marvel film, because the Marvel movies are essentially 2.5 hour episodes of TV show, you know?
Well, it's a way of building character, building that story. Um, and sometimes it's the genre itself that that movie is going to be in. You know,
Yeah.
like if we look at horror movies, we know that you know is whatever that curse or background is, some young kids or whatever going to go to some place. People, of course, are going to die in different ways, and then there's going to be maybe some survivors or a twist. Maybe we do see the killer or not. There's pinpoints and stuff. We don't really care about the story. We're there to see how these people are going to die off. And there's so many tropes that's to it. We got to want to know if that movie is following that trope or not. In video games, you really can't do that in a sense because of a franchise being picked up and being played and selling millions and stuff. People have that expectancy that these certain things be in it.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I can understand why Fire Emblem definitely will work as a TV series. It's because of those those chapters that's in the game. They each are telling part of the story. There's a lot of development. There's characters that you interact with. Um, you know, outside of the battles and how they go, there's a lot of narration in some of the Fire Emblem games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you could literally not take a game and strip it, but you could get the ideas from the Fire Emblem series and make an animated series around it and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I think. I mean, I still think. Obviously, I think Zelda is like the best kind of example, but also I think you could look at something like Metroid, right? Like, I think
Hmm.
Metroid would be a really interesting show if they did it right. I would actually think someone like Neil Blomkamp would be uh, an awesome director for Metroid. I like the way I like his style. He's very good at setting a tone. I think he's a very great. I think his film style is great, right? You
Hmm.
look at uh, you look at like Elysium, and you look at District 9, and Chappie to a little less extent, but he's attached to that Gran Turismo movie, and I'm like, that's an interesting get for them.
Going from sci-fi to racing.
Yeah.
you know, I agree. I think he understands sci-fi, so he can do really get into that universe and that world and create something that's
Hmm.
really original, organic, and have some familiarity to the Metroid series.
Yeah. So I mean, he was attached to do Halo at one point, and they kind of scrapped it. And it's funny because in District 9, I think you can actually see a repurposed warthog in there, and it's funny.
I would be interested to see him do Halo. I wonder how that would turn out.
Probably better than Paramount's show, from what I hear.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I think. Well, what about like Yoshi? In a sense, do you think that'd be like using like the crafted world kind of style?
What are
Like,
you
with the
gonna?
style?
What kind of show are you gonna make out of Yoshi? They don't even
I mean,
talk.
as a kid show, I was about to show. I would say something like on Nickelodeon, something to teach kids or something on how to do art or something.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think there are I definitely think there are characters that you don't try this at all with, and I think Yoshi is one of them.
Well, I think because of the crafted world being
No,
like,
just because it has a cool art style doesn't mean you can make a good show out of it, right? I think they did a good job with Kirby. I mean, you know how I feel about Kirby. I think they did a great job with the old Kirby cartoons. I think you could totally bring that back at some point as like a kids show. I would really like to see that Star Fox show. Remember when they did the animated intro for
oh
Star Fox
yeah,
Zero?
yes, I want that so bad as a TV show.
That was really cool, and I think I would like to see more of that type of thing. I think it works. I really think that works for Star Fox. That would be super cool. But man, I'm just trying to think of other things. Nintendo owns my. I mean, I know
Because
that there's supposedly like a Donkey Kong spinoff of the Mario movie that could possibly work at some point, right? But
I was thinking of like their sports stuff, be something close to like Laugh Olympics, in a sense, or Mario Kart being kind of like that Hanna-Barbera cartoon, where they raced, and stuff.
I don't.
Because I think the Mario stuff is going to be action packed, but there is going to be some comedy and everything.
Is there? I mean, I'm just. I don't know. I don't know. I think that. Let's see. Pikmin wouldn't really be great.
But they did the Pikmin shorts, so
Yeah, but I don't know. I just keep coming back to the Zelda thing. I think Zelda would be awesome. I think a Metroid game would be, or a Metroid series would be awesome. Kind of like semi-horror, stylized horror kind of thing. Probably like, I would say similar to the first Alien movie, which we all know Metroid is heavily inspired by. I mean, you could do something cool with Astral Chain. Would probably be something cool. That would probably be some sort of like.
and taking the Platinum Gang to that would actually be interesting. I mean, they did Devil May Cry anime, but that wasn't. That was more Capcom.
Yeah, but I mean, they could still do that like that.
Yeah.
It's the same company that did Castlevania.
Ah, okay.
So, Yeah. Hold on, I'm looking up stuff. I got a Nintendo
Well,
franchises.
I
Let's
think
see.
that's why the question was specific ones. It's not all of Nintendo stuff, but you know,
Yeah. But you know what else I could totally see happening, and it would be the dumbest idea, but I could totally see it happening, would be like a Nintendo sports reality competition show, right? Like
mhm.
similar to like American Gladiator or Guts, Nickelodeon Guts or something, right? Where like you get teams to compete in different sports that are featured in Wii Sports or
Mhm.
Mario Golf or tennis or that kind of thing. I could totally see that. Something stupid like that coming out. They tried it with Frogger, right? I mean, we have a friend of the show who was on that show, right? Ash says hi. She's a streamer. Like like she's just that show was totally a reality show, and it was weird. And why did you attach Frogger's name to it? But it was there, you know.
Well, yeah, the Wii Sports one will definitely be good to see, how that would go
Yeah.
and everything. Because I'm like, you got a lot of events and sports that they could go into,
hmm
you know.
hmm I could totally see a show based on Kid Icarus or Punch Out also. Just like a cartoon, just like a generic kind of cartoon with Kid Icarus in it, you know?
Yeah. I know people would just say, well, are they going to get the voice again? I'm like, no, they're going to find a voice actor to really uh give Kid Icarus a better sound, a better tone,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a Kid Icarus cartoon, actually. I think that would be kind of fun. I think there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of enemies, there's a lot of quips, and it could be like a comedy action style thing. Totally could work, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Eggplant Man, I mean, you could make a new boss if you want to, like, and then you got Dark Icarus, he could come in the foil plans.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I feel like there's a lot that they could do with it. You know, and maybe that will spark interest in a new game.
Yeah, maybe.
You
I
know,
mean, yeah, I mean, they could even do an arms cartoon. I feel like anything with competition and characters that you would know would be
hmm
really simple, right? Like I think Punch Out and Arms actually could be like be an interesting show.
like a crossover.
Not a crossover, just a which I'm still shocked that Little Mac did not show up in Arms. That was just such a huge miss. Uh Not a crossover, just like I think competition is just a fun kind of way. Little Mac is down on his luck and he fights his way to, like a rip off of Rocky, right?
hmm
Or Arms. Obviously, they're all silly and stupid, and they're all entering this tournament. And some of them are friends, and some are the quote unquote bad guys, and they fight each other, and that's just stupid fun, right? Especially because they're all stretchy and everybody stretches weird and in the wrong weird ways, and
hmm
then you would get your Arms too, Ed.
Yay!
Arms, the show, the video game.
Oh wow. Uh, I think Advance Wars would probably also. I did feel like Advance Wars would be comedic in a sense.
I think Advance Wars could work.
Um, I, well, Mario Golf will probably be in the sports realm. Um, Goodness, I kind of not Brain Age. Well, Brain Age would probably be like a game show in a sense.
Brain Age would definitely be a game show. I'm actually shocked that hasn't happened yet. That's interesting.
like, but I wonder, did you do it like Nick Arcade, Double Dare, or like I wonder how would you go about that, like Brain Age.
I mean, it would just be like a trivia show almost, right?
Mm.
It would just, I think it would be like a base trivia show. I think that would be really interesting. Speed tests and do this math problem as fast as you can, finish as many as you can, and then yeah, I don't know. There's shows like that on TV, and you could totally make that simple. Get someone interesting like Bill Nye to host it or something like that would be
Hmm.
interesting.
I would watch it. Maybe I would love to learn some stuff on how they handle some things.
Hmm.
Uh, I wonder would they ever do like a cooking show,
Hmm.
but who would they attach to, or they did like a cooking show? Because I know Nintendo DS had a cook like where you could learn recipes and go to the grocery store and everything, uh, and be
Yeah,
able to make meals and stuff.
yeah. Um, I don't know. I I could see a cooking show, but I don't know what character you would attach to it. Um, Game and Watch because he has the the pancake flipper. I don't know.
Oh wow. Game of Watch would probably be a good short because I feel like that would be a play on Spy versus Spy in a sense from Mad TV or the Mad comics.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah.
Uh, let's see, Box Boy and Box Girl. I don't know. I don't think you really could do anything with that with the Box Boy series in a sense.
No, I don't. I don't think you could.
I know, like, well, Hotel Dust is more of a mystery thing, but I think that could work as something. Will Rhythm have an Elite Beat Agents? Like, hmm, would they have like a music kind of show?
I don't know. I don't know. Wii music.
Oh wow.
No, I don't know. I feel like we're just kind of listing stuff now, and we're getting into that rut where we just list things now instead of actually talking about them.
Well, that's why I was just thinking of specific ones. That they have the potential. They have um enough history and games and stuff that they could pull inspiration or ideas from to create that form of media. Because, like, outside of like the manga and comics, any Nintendo ones could make a comic book. You know, definitely when if you look at the old Nintendo Power, how some of those games were turned into comics and stuff. The Legend of Zelda has a manga series that people could read. So trying to go and like pinpoint what French some of their specific franchises, what could come out of it. I think the stuff is there, but executing it is what we'll probably be looking for. And what medium would they place it in? Would
Hmm.
it be would it be a movie? Would it be a TV show or a short or something? Uh, would it be something like on Nintendo Switch where it has a channel and it drops every Friday or something?
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So I don't know. Overall, I mean, I think Zelda and Metroid have the best potential. They would have to attach the right people and and good writers to it. I think I think on an animated side, I think Advanced Wars, Star Fox, Xenoblade, and Fire Emblem kind of have good potential. I also think on that level, you could do something interesting with Codename Steam, like
Mm.
that. Those characters, you could do something like an interesting art style or something with it. But Kirby, I don't really know of like a lot more of Nintendo's IP lend themselves to movies or TV, right? I think TV's the way you go. I like I said, I'm worried about the Mario movie. I'm worried about a lot of video game movies in general. We haven't really had a great one outside of, you know, I wouldn't say Sonic is an amazing movie. I think it's great for kids, and I think it's actually a solid, good movie, right?
Hmm.
But you know, no offense, when you're pointing it to Sonic as like a the best video game movie, maybe you should kind of start looking other places. For they just haven't cracked the nut yet, and people used to think that was superheroes too, though. So, and look, MCU is the biggest thing. The Boys is the biggest thing on TV. DC's doing something. I mean, superheroes are everywhere. It's almost everybody's tired of it.
Well, yeah, because everybody know the formula of those and
Yeah.
everything, and it's always selected characters, even though they got a big universe of characters that they could go for and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think with video games, uh, I think it's always how do we. For some people, the simple thing to them is how did you turn this video game into a movie or a TV show, and the things and the lore that we have collected and know about, why it hasn't shown up in the show, or why is it not used correctly and stuff. And I think that that's kind of the problem I think people have with Halo, the TV show, was that there was a big expectancy that that TV show be pretty much a video game turned into real life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because people know what the lore is. They know what what should be done and how characters should react and everything. And because of all the changes, people were upset for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think with Nintendo is that we've played the games, we know the series, we know when we see some changes and some innovations and stuff. So if they do take it and turn it into a certain medium, what is it going to be? Is it going to be something that we know, or is it going to be something like Castlevania on Netflix?
Right.
You know,
Right.
because Castlevania, as much as the story was there, it was always like seeing the choreographed fights being animated, and
Right.
that was the kind of the big appeal. Would that same appeal happen with a Nintendo game if it was a lot of action and stuff?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what Nintendo pulls out, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. I have opinions, but also I want things like movies and stuff to succeed because I think it's a good way to get people into your IP. I mean,
hmm
we haven't really talked about that a lot at all. Like movies are in are a great way to for people to experience your IP for the first time, right? Look how many Sonic
yes,
fans there are that you know don't even know that like games exist, right? Like my nephews are kids who, hey, we like Sonic. Are there video games? Oh, there are. Cool, you know.
yeah.
And so yeah, I want them to succeed. I really do. Just for that simple fact, because the more people that are into the IP, the more games that will probably be sold, the more money they'll make, the better games they'll make, and then it's just a cycle of goodness for everybody.
Well, can I ask? Do you think you need a trailer for the Mario movie to see if it's gonna calm some of your fears or answer some things?
Wait, what? What?
Do you
Sorry.
need Do you need to watch a trailer?
I mean, no, I
Like,
don't. I don't really care about trailers. In terms of that, I think we have seen a lot of. I mean, without seeing a trailer, we know a lot about this Mario movie, right? And
mm,
I just I don't know. Maybe a trailer would help. I guess I don't know. I really don't know. I don't really care about this Mario movie at all. You know, it's like when some people were talking about, you know, we should all go to Super Nintendo World and do that. I'm like, I have I was excited when they announced it, right?
Hmm.
But like seeing what they did, and like this is the problem, is Universal tends to kind of, I would say, with rare exception, cut the corners and kind of like shove everything into a little corner of the theme park, right?
Hmm.
You know, where like you look at what they did with Super Nintendo World at Universal, and then you look at something like Star Wars at Disney, right? Or Cars Land, and you're like, you know, why couldn't they have done that? And I know they have Harry Potter, right, at Universal, and the one in Florida is like one of the best themed lands in all of theme parks, right?
Hmm.
But that's the exception to the rule with Universal, where that's like that is the rule with someone like Disney, is like you have to go all out. Everything is placed with a purpose. And what I saw of Super Nintendo World, I was not only not very impressed, I was actually quite turned off by a lot of it. And Universal also making the Mario movie. So I don't know, man, that theme park, that just looks like a claustrophobic, germ-filled, just ugh. Like, two of their rides require you to wear headsets. Like, why would I put on a headset that you just took off some sweaty person in Florida, right?
Hmm.
No, no, thank you. No, thank you.
I'll be skipping you as a ride. Just
Like the Mario Kart ride has a headset. I think the Yoshi ride has a headset. Like, no, thank you. I don't want to put your nasty headset on to ride this attraction. If I want to
you
put a
would
headset
just
on, I'll find a VR unit and play it at home.
you would just rather prefer it just be like a roller coaster or something like that.
Not even a roller coaster. It doesn't even have to be that. I just don't. I just want to experience the ride. I don't want to have to put all this extra stuff on. I don't want to like look in a screen while I'm at a theme park. You know, like
Hmm.
I just want to experience something. You know, and I think they could have done something really interesting with a Mario Kart ride. They could have done something like Test Track or a Radiator Springs Racers at Disney, and they didn't. It's a slow moving track ride, right? And you put a headset on, and there's racers in front of you, and you're racing these computer generated characters that you're viewing through the screen, and you see the items fly past you and stuff, which is neat in concept, but like I would have rather just like raced other players, you know?
Right.
And that just it just didn't do anything for me. I'm actually like really disappointed in what I saw in the Super Nintendo
To the world.
land world, whatever. Like, don't get me wrong, if we ever went to Universal, like I would totally go check it out, but I'm not
This
like gonna go out of my way to go there. You know, I'm way more interested in the Harry Potter stuff than I am the Nintendo stuff.
Well, I think it's because Disney really knows how to build a theme park and attractions. They really want to experience that world that they created and the cohesiveness of it and
Yeah.
everything. So they're gonna give it. They'll tear a old out a space that's old that they're not using, and build up this new attraction because they know definitely if you got people who are big Disney fans coming there, they're expecting this magical experience, and that's what Disney wants to provide.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but
And
I will say Nintendo is probably the only one that I know of that has worked with Six Flags, Universal, and Disney in a sense. Disney with some of the games, because I think they published or they on the DS or something. there were some Nintendo stuff like Nintendo games at Six Flags, and some not attractions, but they were showing not just commercials, but they had some areas where you could play certain Nintendo games at one point in time, and then Super Nintendo World with Universal in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, I, I really thought they were going to be working with Sony for the Mario movie, or in a sense.
Why? Sony's movies are terrible.
Because of Columbia or something.
No, I mean, I think Nintendo wants to avoid Sony at all costs, regardless.
Oh, and Nintendo characters in Wreck-It Ralph was in Disney.
Yeah. Well, not really.
Oh well, Bowser at least.
Oh yeah, I guess Bowser was in there. Bowser, and there was a mushroom in there. But man, I don't know. I don't have faith in this Mario movie. And it's mostly on Universal too. I just don't think Universal's animation is great. And I know I'm in the minority. I know people love Shrek and Madagascar and Sing and whatever else they've put out, but it's not for me.
It is intriguing though. I will say that.
I mean, I guess so. I guess it is. But
And we know that the movie is definitely made for kids.
yeah.
I think kids don't have an expectation. I think we as adults who grew up with these franchises have an expectation because we know more. I'm not saying that we desire more, but we can experience more in games nowadays than what kids can. I don't think kids could grasp character background and level design and stuff like that. To them, they're just like, I just want to play a video game and have fun.
Yeah.
Something simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, Corey, we got some Patreon shout outs to do.
Oh yeah. You can join the Boss Rush Network on Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Network, and for just $1, you get all of our content. Well, not all of our content. You get 4 shows early access. You get the Boss Rush podcast and this here expansion pass 1 week early, as well as After Dark and Standard Definition 2 weeks early. But if you subscribe to the $5 tier, you become a Patreon producer. What does that mean? It means you get your name shouted out on this here program. Just like our Patreon producers of this episode. We have Quentin Jackson, Rebecca Jewell, Adriel Munger, and my wife, Sana Dirrig. I want to thank all of our Patreon producers. I want to thank all of our patrons. And I want to thank all of our free listeners. If you don't want to support us financially, it's okay. You can head on over to iTunes or Spotify and leave us a 5-star rating. That would really help us out as well. Remember, all of our content is free. We just provide some perks to our patrons, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, I think that's going to be it for this episode. Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at I am Corey HG on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me on the Boss Rush podcast, Nintendo Power Block, Standard Definition, various other things here on the Boss Rush Network.
And you can find me on Twitter at ThatVirtualCode and also on Instagram on ThatVirtualCode. You can find me on Nintendo Power Block, Nintendo Expansion Pass, Talk the Walk, and other podcasts and places here on Boss Rush Network. But then, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Expansion Pass. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.